The Civil War tore our nation in half, from cities to villages, from families to brothers. This is a story of two brothers who rode their separate ways to fight and die for what they believed in. Right or wrong, blue or gray, all were Americans.
Mason, where are you going?
Robert, where are you going?
I asked you first.
I'm going home. My injuries were a bit too much for me to continue fighting. I didn't want the army to find out about our secret.
That was why. My shoulder was a major hindrance to me, and I didn't want to have to slow the army down any more than we already were.
Very true.
So, I don't see anyone around anymore, so there's no reason to keep with this facade any longer.
He's a lady, and ladies shouldn't be messed with.
This feels 1,000 times better.
It does. So, what are we going to do when we get back to Annapolis? Work in the sailing shop?
I hope not. Now that I've seen the battlefield, I don't want to sit home and listen to the newspaper reports. I don't want to hear information secondhand.
I am not too keen to go on the battlefield anymore, but I still want to help. The Civil War is tearing the nation apart, and I don't want to sit back and watch it. But I'm honestly a bit glad that I got discharged from the military. McDowell let me out on July 26th, just under a week ago.
Oh, that McDowell. Such an awful general. How could you allow your troops to fight the Battle of Manassas, obviously so unprepared?
Hey.
He was so ignorant and irresponsible.
Hey, watch your tongue. He was my general after all.
But you were so unprepared, and everyone knew it. You were only enlisted for 90 days, and your contract was almost up by the time the fighting started.
But that wasn't his fault. You Southerners were just sitting around all day watching.
Yeah.
And the American public was getting restless by the lack of action. We had no other time to attack besides the Battle of Bull Run.
One of our scouts said that you were stopping all the time to pick berries and barely walking in lines. You were so unprepared.
You were no better. You were just as unseasoned and green as us. Even Lincoln agreed with us.
At least we didn't bring spectators to watch us.
That was none of our doing. The civilians followed us in their own accord, and we took no part in it.
But you could have shooed them away. You are the army.
Well, we had no part in that either. They came dressed up with picnic baskets and were all ready for a party or some sort of special occasion. But certainly this battle was the opposite. And at least now they'll know how long this war will go on and how bad it'll be. Maybe they won't push anymore for battles and we won't have to end countless lives in military slaughter.
Maybe, but I don't think so. The American public is so restless. They'll obviously want to see action again soon, even though they saw the battle.
I hope not.
As with I, but the North will surely be unsatisfied with your loss.
Most likely, but we might have actually won if General Jackson didn't show up.
Probably not. We owe our success to him, though. He stood like a stone wall.
That'd be a good name. General Stonewall Jackson.
It does suit him well. He didn't give up even when we were losing at the beginning of the battle. Without him, I don't think we could have won. He was actually promoted up to general officer from colonel because of his efforts in the battle. And General Beauregard was a major source of encouragement. He would ride through the battlefields on our side, shouting encouragements to the soldiers to keep up their spirits, and it obviously worked.
We need someone like that on our side.
What you need is good battle strategies. Yours are so complex, no one can remember them. You need to stay in constant synchronism. There is no way you can win when your plans are as complex as they are. You need to make them simpler so everyone can remember them.
I had to say, our battle strategies were good. I had to say, they were a little hard to follow. A lot of my comrades and I were having trouble following the generals and figuring out what we had to do. But we were doing well in the beginning of the battle until you guys scouted us out. How do you do it, I have to ask?
You think I'm going to tell you that? I could get kicked out of the army for exchanging battle strategies with the Union.
You could get kicked out of the army too if they found out you were a woman, but that didn't stop you, did it?
If you're so intrigued with our tactics and generals, why don't you just join the Confederacy then?
I could never join the likes of you. You are having no problem carrying up the Union just because you are upset by a president from the North. And you have no problem keeping slaves as property.
We have a right to own property, and that includes slaves, since they don't have equal rights. And your beloved founding fathers owned slaves. You never hounded them about it. Plus, how would you feel if we took away your trains and factories? That's how this feels.
Well, trains and factories aren't living, breathing human beings.
Now I remember why I left home in the first place. Our opinions in politics are so different.
I don't want to hear this. There is a reason why I went to war, and this is precisely why. I can't sit by and watch as the Union gets torn apart by some ignorant and temperamental Southerners.
And I would give my life to help the Confederacy win independence from you oppressive, heartless Northerners.
I have no reason to stay in here and talk to you. I'm going home, and if you have the nerve to follow me there, don't expect me to stay civil. But how can I even think of someone like you, a Southern-thinking ruffian, to stay civil anyway?
How could you say that?
Goodbye, sister.
Two brothers on their way, two brothers on their way, two brothers on their way. One wore blue and one wore gray.
Look at this, Elizabeth. There was a second battle of Manassas.
Are you kidding me? It's been almost exactly a year since the first Battle of Bull Run.
I know. It says here that Union General George McClellan was replaced by someone named John Pope. Apparently, he was a lot more aggressive in his battle strategy than McClellan was.
I have to say, McClellan was always very cautious.
I'd say overcautious. But anyway, General Thomas Stonewall Jackson,
Hey, it looks like the nickname stuck then.
like I was saying, Stonewall Jackson saved the day again and led the army to another Confederate victory. Looks like the North didn't learn the first time.
Well, maybe we'll have another battle and 3 times would be a charm and we'll actually win.
Only time can tell, I guess.
I have to say, though, your battle strategies and your different plans were always very well thought out, and they always seem to work really well in the end.
Thank you. And I guess we could agree to disagree then.
Shall we?
We shall.
All on a beautiful morning, two girls waiting by the railroad track, two girls waiting by the railroad track, two girls waiting by the railroad track. One wore blue and one wore black. One wore blue and one wore black.